Today I'm talking about creating a life of purpose. And I've come up with a few questions that people often ask, or things that come up maybe subconsciously about purpose, about living with purpose, living on purpose. And I'm going to do my best to answer those for you today. Before I get into that, though, I want to invite you, if you have not already, sign up for my 5-day Biz Incubator Challenge. That's happening next week, May 15th through the 19th. And whether you're starting your own solopreneur business or starting a side hustle, this can help you out. If you know you want to start something but have no ideas, this will be perfect for you to go from, I don't know what I want to do, to having a business plan ready to go and implement. That's what this 5-day Biz Incubator Challenge will do for you. Let's jump right into the episode. How can we create a life of purpose? Well, first off, we have to know what purpose is. And that's the first question. How do you define purpose? And why is it important to have one? Well, I believe that we have been created, that we're specifically and uniquely designed the way we are. We are given unique interests, gifts, talents, abilities. And when we combine all of those things and use them to impact the lives of other people, that is our purpose. Our purpose is to use what we've been given and make a difference in the lives of other people. Some people go all out with that. Some people create massive impact in life with that. Some people do very little, and they keep their sphere of impact very, very small. I want my sphere of impact to be massive, to be huge. And I'm working on that each and every day, working on growing that, creating that, building that out. But that's how I define purpose, is simply using your gifts, talents, knowledge, skills, abilities, personality, everything that is uniquely you, using those to create a difference in someone else's life. That is purpose. What are some obstacles that people face when trying to create a life of purpose? And how can they get around that? I think the biggest holdup for people around that purpose question is they make too big of a deal out of it. They believe that purpose has to be an epic adventure. Like they think Lord of the Rings, Frodo, when he went on that long journey, reached the end. He was in Mount Doom in Mordor, and he dropped the ring into the fire. Actually, he didn't. But that is how people view purpose, is an epic adventure like that. And it often does lead us on an epic adventure. But the culmination of the Lord of the Rings videos was not Frodo's purpose. The journey was his purpose. He was living his purpose in that journey. He was using everything that was uniquely him to make a difference in the world. That is the purpose. And the biggest obstacle is people try to make the end result their purpose rather than allowing their purpose create the end result of their life. So question number 3 is, how can we identify our passions and values and use those to create a purposeful life? Well, that takes work. That takes effort. That takes time. And most people don't want to put in that time to really understand what they're passionate about. They don't want to understand the things that they're truly good at. For some people, maybe it's false modesty. Maybe they can't admit, I really am good at this thing. This is something that I can do really well, and I can figure out how to sell it. I can figure out how to create an impact on other people. And that's another thing that, going back to the other question, some of the common obstacles that people face. So many people struggle with doing things they love and turning that into a job or a career. They're used to hating their job. They'd rather hate their job and do the things they love only a small amount of the time, rather than figuring out how to do the things they love and are good at all the time and that be their job. If you can identify what you're good at, what you enjoy doing, and pursue your interests and passions in a way that aligns with your values, you can monetize that. You can live off of that. People will pay you for those things. That is a life of purpose. The next question, is it ever too late to start living a life of purpose? If you feel like you've lost your way, you're falling off the path, you've gone down the wrong road for so many years, whether you're 30, 40, 50, 60, there are countless stories of people who have found their purpose late in life. Just take, for instance, Colonel Sanders, the founder of Kentucky Fried Chicken. He was in his 70s before he really got his start. He was in his 70s before he found his niche, before he created what we now know as KFC. So I think you'll agree with me, if he can do that then, in his 70s, it's not too late for you yet. I know people who are in their 90s who are still getting around very well, who seem younger than, my 75-year-old grandma was. My grandma at 75 was bedridden for 2 years. I know people in their 90s who are living alone. It's never too late to start living your purpose. Next question is, how can someone align their career with their purpose, and what steps can they take to make that happen? Let me just start out by saying that people who feel no purpose with their career, with their job, with their business, they're unfulfilled in life. When they're not doing work that they feel has meaning, they're not working in their purpose. And the truth is, you can make most any job feel purposeful. Let's just take, for instance, if you're a shelf stocker, like you're stocking shelves at the grocery store. How can that be purposeful? Unless you love arranging things on shelves, seeing the organization and making sure the shelves are fully stocked. Unless you actually love that kind of work, then you're probably not going to feel like there's a whole lot of purpose in there. But if you know yourself, if you know the things that you love, if you know what you're good at, your passions and your interests. Let's just take, for instance, somebody who likes being around people, who likes dealing with people, who likes having conversations. If they have a job as a shelf stocker, they're not necessarily getting the things that they enjoy in life, those meaningful conversations, those connections with other people. But if they know that that's what they enjoy, they can look for moments to make a difference, to connect with other people, with customers that are shopping in the store. They can look for those moments to make that connection. If you're a street sweeper, that doesn't feel like it has a lot of purpose other than keeping the streets clean. And that's important because I like clean streets. But you can look for moments to lean into the things that you love, the things that you're good at, the things that you're interested in and passionate about. No matter what your job, if you're not doing work that you love, look for moments that fit in with what you love to do. Look for moments that fulfill your passions and your interests. Look for the little moments that you can connect with somebody and help them out. Look for moments that tie into your strengths. Even if the job overall isn't your gift, maybe you're there for a time until you can move to the thing that is your gift. But while you're in that unfulfilling job, the job overall doesn't feel like it has a purpose and fulfillment, you can find those moments that bring that fulfillment, that fit in with your purpose. So how can you make sure that you find or create a career or a job or a business that aligns with your purpose, even if you're right now not aligned with that? Well, it goes back to the definition of purpose. It's knowing yourself. Know thyself, as the old saying goes. You have to know what it is that you love. You have to know what you're good at, what you're interested in, what you're passionate about, your personality, how you like to work. Do you like to work with people? Do you prefer working alone? Do you like numbers? Or do you hate working with numbers? And you can find a career or create your own job or business or side hustle that fits in with those things that you love to do. That is how you create a career aligned with your purpose. Next, what role do relationships and community play in creating a life of purpose? Well, relationships ties into what we talked about a minute ago, understanding how you work with people. All of life has to do with relationships. Whether you love being around people or would rather not be around people, you still have relationships. And if you don't, then you're missing out. We have relationships, whether good or bad. Why not have good relationships? Having good relationships leads to deeper fulfillment. It's that connection. Even though I need more alone time than connection time, I still enjoy that connection. I still like to have deep conversations. I still need that community. I need people around me to help when I need help. I need people around me that I can go help when they need help. Those things tie into purpose. So how can somebody stay motivated and focused on their purpose when they encounter setbacks or challenges? And I think you need to go back to the beginning, to the definition of purpose. Like, it all ties back into knowing yourself. So really, purpose has to do 99% with knowing yourself, knowing what you love, knowing your interests, your passions, your gifts, your talents, your skills, your abilities, knowing the resources that you have at your disposal. Those things all tie into your purpose. And we can easily lose sight of that. We get caught up in life. We get caught up in career. We get caught up in anything. Things happen and we can easily get caught up in them and lose sight of what's important. We lose sight of purpose. So we have to go back to the beginning. It's not always easy to see. We don't always notice it right away. But when you start losing that motivation, that zest, that zeal for life, that wanting to go do the things, it's because you're not living in alignment with your purpose. So you always have to go back to that. When you lose that motivation, go back to that purpose. And to keep that motivation, write those things down. Have a vision board. Write it on a poster card and stick it somewhere where you'll see it all the time. Those things act as little reminders to help you out. I had wristbands made that say growth and impact on it. Those two things align deeply with my purpose. Everything that I do is growth oriented or impact oriented. And if it's not one of those two things, then I'm not living in alignment with purpose. I'm not living in fulfillment. Like, it's something that doesn't matter if it doesn't align with one of those two things. That is what I want my life to be about, is growth and impact. And right now I don't have those wristbands on. And so sometimes I can forget that. But when I wear those, when I remember to have those on, it is a reminder. It acts as a reminder. And actually, on those wristbands, I I have growth and impact on the one side, and on the inside it says mission accomplished. So what I've been doing is I have growth and impact facing out each day. And then as I do something that's growth oriented, I can flip the wristband and it says mission accomplished, to know that I did something growth oriented that day. If I did something to create an impact for others that day, I flip that wristband and it says mission accomplished. So I know that I did my duty that day. Moving on to the next question. How can creating a life of purpose help alleviate stress and anxiety? And I think that ties right back into the last question. The way we answered that is when life gets overwhelming, when life is challenging, when you feel like, you're up against a brick wall, go back to purpose. It alleviates so much stress. There's always going to be stressful things. There's always going to be anxiety if you allow it to creep in. But when you're living in alignment with purpose, those things have much less sway. They hold much less sway over your life. They don't affect you as much because you're following the path you need to follow. The next question, how does creating a life of purpose differ from simply setting goals or achieving success? Now, I love this question. I'm a huge proponent of setting goals. Success drives me. I want to achieve success. And that's another podcast series that I'm doing. I have another little podcast called Finding the Next Level. And next week, from when you hear this episode, I'm doing a 5-part series on how to achieve what you want in life, or how to achieve the success you want in life. And it's 5 simple steps that anybody can follow. But how does a life of purpose differ from setting goals to achieving success? I think you can set goals and achieve success in any area. If you want to go after something, you can do it. You can achieve it. But that doesn't necessarily align with your purpose. It doesn't align with your values, your interests, your passions, your skills, your talents, your personality. You can do things that are out of alignment with who you are, and you can set goals towards that and achieve that success. But when you set goals around who you are, around your gifts, your interests, your passions, your values, when you set goals based on your purpose, that success will be that much sweeter. Now, I hope that this has given you some insight into why you should know your purpose. I hope that you'll sit down, you'll take some time, you'll do the work to discover more about yourself, to know thyself, to know your values, your interests, your passions, your skills, talents, gifts, all of those things. Know who you are and how you can find little bits and pieces in each and every day that align with that. And that you can work towards creating a life that aligns with that. Not just bits and pieces, not just parts of your career, but a life. Now, my call to action today is this: create a life of purpose and go do good work.